Alright y'all, let's talk about something real. Have you ever been driving, just minding your own business, and suddenly somebody acts a fool? I mean a complete grade A certified fool. They cut you off, they lay on that horn like their life depends on it. They start yelling things out the window you wouldn't even say to your worst enemy. We've all been there. It's called road rage. It's that moment when a perfectly normal person gets behind the wheel of a 2-ton metal box and turns into a monster. It's like the car is a pressure cooker. And the smallest thing, someone driving too slow and someone taking your spot, can make the whole thing just explode. It's a dangerous game, people. A real dangerous game. But here's the thing about playing with fire. Sooner or later, you're gonna get burned. You see, when you lose your cool on the road, you have no idea who you're messing with. So buckle up, because we're about to take a ride down the highway of what not to do. Our first story takes us to a busy city street. Picture this. A guy in a shiny, expensive sedan is in a real big hurry. He's weaving through traffic, cutting people off, acting like he owns the road. Now up ahead of him is a man on a motorcycle, just cruising, enjoying the day. The car driver gets right up on the biker's tail. He's honking his horn, flashing his lights, just being disrespectful. The biker, he just gestures for the guy to go around. He ain't looking for no trouble. So, at the next red light, the car driver pulls up right next to the motorcycle. He rolls down his window and starts yelling, cussing the biker out, calling him every name in the book. The biker just sits there, calm as can be, looking at this man acting a fool. The biker slowly takes off his helmet. It's not some skinny kid, it's a huge dude. I mean, built like a brick house. And he's wearing a t-shirt that says, State Kickboxing Champion. You could see the color drain right out of Mr. Sedan's face. He went from a roaring lion to a scared little kitten in about 2 seconds. He jumped back in his car and drove off faster than a toupee in a hurricane. The lesson here is simple, folks. You never know who you're picking a fight with. Alright, let's move from the street to the parking lot. A place where sanity goes to die. You know how it is. You're circling for what feels like an eternity, looking for a spot. Then you see it. The golden ticket. Someone is backing out. You put on your blinker, you wait patiently. But then, out of nowhere, some other driver swoops in and steals your spot. Oh, the nerve, it's enough to make a preacher cuss. Well, that's exactly what happened to this one lady, let's call her Karen. She had been waiting for a spot at a crowded mall right before Christmas. She was patient, she did everything right. Then, a young fella in a beat-up old car zips right in and takes the spot she was waiting for. Now, Karen lost her mind. She laid on the horn, she got out of her SUV and marched over to his car, ready for war. She started banging on his window, yelling about how he stole her spot, how he had no respect. Here's the twist, y'all. While Karen is in the middle of her tirade, another car quietly pulls up and parks right behind her SUV, blocking her in. 2 people get out, a man, a woman. They look very professional. The man calmly flashes a badge. Turns out the 2 people who just blocked her in were undercover police officers. They had been watching the whole thing from their unmarked car. The parking lot prowler had just picked a fight in front of the cops. You can imagine the look on Karen's face. It was priceless. They wrote her a ticket right there on the spot. The young man she was yelling at just sat in his car, watching the whole thing unfold. Karma didn't just show up, it brought a police escort. Let's take this show on the road, the big road, the highway. This is where the speeds are higher and the tempers are shorter. Our next story is about a guy in a big pickup truck. You know the type. This driver was tailgating a small sedan on a 2-lane highway, so close you could read the warranty on his grille. Flashing his high beams, revving his engine, doing everything he could to intimidate, bully on wheels. The driver of the sedan, a woman, was clearly not comfortable. A little over the speed limit. Not enough for Mr. Big Truck. Couldn't move over. Line of cars in the other lane. Trapped. He makes a reckless move. Swerves onto the shoulder, kicks up a cloud of dust, speeds past her, lays on his horn, gives her the one-finger salute, feeling big and powerful. What this hothead didn't see was that the woman in the sedan was on the phone. She wasn't calling her friends to complain. She was an off-duty police officer, and she was on the phone with her on-duty colleagues. She calmly read them his license plate number, described his truck, described his reckless driving, a full play-by-play. A few miles down the road, flashing blue and red in his mirror, 2 patrol cars behind him. Confused at first, he sees the little sedan pull over behind the police cars. It clicks. The off-duty officer got out and had a little chat with her fellow officers. Reckless driving, improper passing, speeding, you name it, tickets. He went from king of the road to the star of his own traffic stop. The lesson here is a big one. The person you're bullying on the road might have the power to enforce the law you're breaking, Be nice to everybody, it's just easier. Now this story right here, this one is special. It shows you that sometimes, karma has a great sense of humor. This happened in Southern California, not too far from a major military base. A guy in a convertible, top-down, music blasting, is driving erratically. He cuts off a plain-looking minivan, not just a little cut-off but a slam-on-your-brakes kind of move. The minivan honks its horn, just one quick tap like, "Hey buddy, watch it!" Well, Mr. Convertible did not like that one bit. So at the next stoplight he parks his car in the middle of the road and walks up to the minivan to teach them a lesson. The side door of the minivan slides open. First one, then two, then three, then four large men, military-style haircuts, incredible physical shape. All four of them were United States Marines. They just got off base and were heading out for some food. They didn't get out with anger, they just got out. They stood there, all four of them just looking at this one angry guy in his little convertible. They didn't say a word, they didn't have to. The road rage guy froze. His jaw dropped. He looked at the first Marine, then the second, then the third and fourth. The tough guy act melted away like an ice cube on a hot sidewalk. He scrambled back to his convertible and got out of there so fast you would have thought his car was on fire. The Marines just watched him go, shook their heads, and got back in their van. The lesson: don't start a fight if you're not prepared to face the entire platoon. Try yelling at four Marines. That's a different kind of tough, and you ain't got it. This next story is about one of those moments. It happened in a drive-thru line, a place of hunger and sometimes short tempers. A man in a beat-up pickup truck was getting impatient with the car in front of him, a nice, clean sedan driven by a woman. He started inching forward, bumping her car. Not hard, but just enough to be a jerk. He leaned out his window, and he spit on her car, right on the driver's side window. It was a cowardly, nasty move. The woman in the sedan saw what he did, but she didn't get out and scream. She didn't lose her cool. She paid for her meal and then she leaned over to the cashier and said with a sweet smile, "I'd also like to pay for the gentleman's meal behind me." The cashier was a little surprised, but she did it. The man in the truck pulled up to the window, ready to pay, feeling all smug. The man was confused. The cashier said, "Sir, your meal has been paid for by the lady you were behind." He looked ahead and saw the woman parked, just watching him. In that moment, he understood. He had acted like an animal, and she had responded with class. The shame that washed over his face was probably more punishing than any yelling match could have been. He couldn't even look at her as he took his free meal and drove away. He had been a bully, and she had killed him with kindness. That's a special kind of instant karma. Let's talk about the kings and queens of the road for a minute. The professional truck drivers. These men and women spend more time on the asphalt than most of us spend in our own beds. They know the roads, they know the rules, they know how to handle their rigs. This story is about a young kid in a souped-up sports car who decided to mess with the wrong 18-wheeler. He was speeding, weaving in and out of lanes, acting like he was in a video game. The trucker, a seasoned veteran of the road, stayed calm. He didn't swerve, he didn't blast his horn, he just watched and waited. He was on his CB radio, talking to his buddies up ahead. He described the little sports car, the color, the make, what the driver was doing, a full report. He set a trap. A few miles down the road, the sports car came up on two other semi-trucks, but as he got close, the two trucks, almost like they were choreographed, slowed down just a little bit. They moved slightly closer together, creating a rolling roadblock. The kid tried to speed through the gap. He was trapped, boxed in, forced to drive the speed limit. The trucker he had been harassing rolled up behind him, completing the box. No horns, no gestures, just a calm, professional lesson in road etiquette. They held him there for about 10 miles. He was forced to drive only the speed limit. He learned that day, don't mess with the big dogs. They work together. Their patience is a weapon. The kid learned that day, don't mess with the big dogs. Their patience is a weapon. This last one, y'all, this is what I call a public service announcement delivered by fate. It happened in the middle of a bustling city during rush hour. A man in a business suit driving a luxury car was stopped at a long red light. He was clearly having a bad day. When the light turned green, the station wagon didn't move immediately. That was 2 seconds too long for Mr. Business Suit. He lost it. He laid on his horn, a long, angry blast. Then he started screaming out his window. People on the sidewalk turned to look. What he didn't notice was a news van parked on the corner with a reporter and cameraman doing a routine traffic story. When this guy started his epic meltdown, the cameraman turned his camera and started filming. He got a perfect, clear shot of the man in his expensive car screaming his head off. He got his license plate. He got the whole embarrassing, cringe-worthy performance on tape. That night, on the local evening news, the story about traffic patterns had a brand new, exciting introduction. The whole city got to see Mr. Business Suit in all his glory. They blurred his face, but his car and his actions were on full display. In a world of smartphones and cameras everywhere, you are always on stage. Act accordingly. Choose your calm. You never know when your worst moment might be broadcast for the whole world to see. So there you have it. A biker who was a kickboxing champion, a parking lot screamer who got a ticket from undercover cops, a highway bully who messed with an off-duty officer, a tough guy who tried to fight a van full of Marines, a man whose temper tantrum made the evening news. What do all these stories have in common? They all started with one person deciding their anger was more important than common sense. They chose to escalate a small problem into a big one. And in every case, that choice blew up in their face. Life is hard enough. We've all got pressures, bills, families, jobs. The last thing we need is a war zone on the way to work. Let the cutter ruin your day, or take a deep breath, turn up your favorite song, and let it go. Remember the guy who had to apologize to the kickboxer. Remember the man boxed in by truckers. Let someone else have the last honk. You choose to arrive with dignity and sanity intact. The best way to win a fight on the road is to never get in one. Stay calm, stay safe, and drive smart.